Hey guys, welcome back to the Warcamp Broadcast, where we talk about all things Return of Reckoning. Today, I want to introduce my new co-host, Bank, who will be filling in for Shep for the foreseeable future. Shep decided to step away from the podcast for a little bit. Hopefully, he'll be coming back in the future, but until then, we have my good friend and Warband leader, Bankolomew. Bankolomew, would you like to tell us a little bit more about your... Bankolomew sounds weird. Can I just call you Bank?
Everybody, you'll be hearing these types of things a lot more now, I guess. We're not sorry. But yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller. Actually, not quite true. I got to be a guest on episode 4. I absolutely loved it. Been watching voraciously since. I think this podcast brings something important to the ROR community. I hope to bring my perspective, add a bit of a counterweight. As Serj mentioned, I'm a warband leader, and I'm just absolutely humbled by this opportunity. One of the things I can tell you is that I'm always lurking in the comments section. I'll be reading, responding to what you say. I want to hear from all of you. And I want to hear and engage with those that love this game as much, if not more so than I do. I myself have been playing about 18 months now, leading warbands for a bit over a year. It's been very, very exciting. I mostly play Destro, but I've started dipping my toe and leveling a few Order characters, having a lot
Order
of fun
Spa.
with that. Oh yeah, big time,
Just kidding.
big time. You'll find me in Serj's comment section, the ROR Discord bank on there, the GWU Discord. I'm in the GWU as well. So that's it about me. Serj, what are we talking about today?
So, in one of our past broadcasts, we discussed what each of the roles are expected to do in an organized warband, and we didn't really go into a lot of detail. But today and in future episodes, we're going to do a more deep dive into specific roles. And today, we're talking about tanks.
Half that
My bread
podcast was about
and
tanks
butter.
anyways.
Yeah, well, you know what? So we're going to be talking about specifically chosen Black Orc and Blackguards, but we are going to be bringing in a lot of what we know from the mirror classes of Knight, Ironbreaker, and Swordmaster. So what do tanks do? Why do they matter? What separates a tank that can carry your warband from one that just kind of shows up and fills a slot? And, you know, this is a very close to my heart topic. I've been maining tanks since the old days of the old school vanilla World of Warcraft. I've been playing Chosen for a long time now. So you're going to get some of my own personal, very real opinions today.
And Serj's an absolute menace on the field when he's out there. From my side, what you're going to see is a perspective. I've been leading organized warbands for a long time. I hope and that all players get to experience an organized warband when playing Return of Reckoning. I think it's one of the best ways to experience this game. But we're going to be giving you tips and tricks as well from Pug Warbands. How can you improve the moment that you join a warband? And I'll let you know what I need from my tanks when I'm calling the fights and trying to get us to win some difficult situations. Trust me, there's a really big difference between what some tanks think what their job is and what their actual job is.
I can go into a lot of detail about what people think that they're supposed to be doing in this game versus what they should be doing. But you know what? We're talking about tanks today, so I'll keep it on that topic. Before we get into it, I want to give a quick shout out to the Return of Reckoning crew that has been updating the events. We got weekly events, we got monthly events, we got annual events, and right now we are starting, as of today, the 12th year anniversary for Return of Reckoning. So if you haven't logged in yet to start receiving your 2 times crest, that started Wednesday. And the Twitch drop event is starting. It started today already. So if you're not getting those Twitch drops, sign into Twitch and get your free, easy to acquire rewards. Also, we have Twilight's Tide coming up. So if you want your analyst rings, make sure you are logging in the, I believe that's coming up in a couple of weeks, beginning of July-ish. And you will be able to craft your analyst rings.
Big fights going on right now. Let's get into this. So, tank role in warbands. We've got some of the things that are apply to every single tank, and we're going to get into specifics for each role. Is a tank just there not to die? No. But they won't die, hopefully.
Well, yes.
But it'll go a lot beyond that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, everyone's there to hopefully not die, right? But there's a universal toolkit, and that's really where it starts. That's your foundation. That's your guard, your challenge rotation, your taunt, your hold the line. And I know a lot of tanks coming into this game, they might hear it in pugs, you might hear it somewhere. Don't ever AoE punt. Do AoE punt, but do it at the right time and understand the situations where it's beneficial. Single target punts are incredibly powerful. AoE punts are as well. They do give immunities, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be using them. You will be the person that sometimes has the warband leader screaming, "Who punted?" But that'll be fine. That'll be fine. You'll learn to do it better. Positioning for almost all roles, but positioning is the single biggest separator between what a good tank can do and what a great tank can do. You think it might be gear. At first, you might feel that way, but it's 100% positioning as you learn and evolve as a tank. When a tank is doing their job perfectly, it's the enemy that feels this aura of oppression, which is a move, and we're going to talk about it in Chosen, but they feel that they just can't do anything, and tanks help achieve that.
So if we do a little bit more of a deep dive into the specifics of what you just said, right? Guarding, challenge rotation, taunting, holding the line. Taunt does more than just make you do more damage. It interrupts channels. So if you see a White Lion or a Mara spinning and you taunt them, it will interrupt their channel. If you see a healer casting or trying to res someone and you taunt them, it will interrupt their cast. They can immediately go. There's no taunt immunity, so they can go back to casting, but it gives you more time. Okay, so taunting is not a PvE ability. It is a very good PvP ability for a single target interrupt. So you need to be learning when to taunt. Guard, everybody will, from day one, if you are in a tier 1 learning how to play a tank and you have those salty vets in tier 1 telling you to guard me, every single tank has a guard mechanic. You need to target a player in your group and hit your guard button. And if you're not using enemy, hit us up. It makes guard swapping way faster, way easier. You just click a button and it immediately swaps to that person that you clicked on. There's no messing around. Challenge rotations are very important. You don't want to challenge if there is a challenge currently on your target. So how do you see if an enemy has challenge on them without clicking on them, going through all of their buffs and debuffs to see if they have a challenge on them? You need to get buff head to make it show up that the player has a challenge on them, so you're not wasting your challenge and they get free damage after the challenge wears off.
So
Hold the line
click through 24 targets.
I mean, you can, but by the time you do, the fight's going to be over. And hold the line that he went over. That's not something that you just press for a filler spell. It does a very specific thing. You hold the line whenever you have casters or ranged players in the back shooting at your warband. If you're a chosen, that's all you get. if you're a Blackguard or a Black Orc, you can channel a block channel, which is good for you, but not good for everybody else in your group. It gives disrupt and dodge to everybody else in your group that's standing behind you, not just in your group, everybody behind you. So you don't want to just hold the line all the time when there's nobody shooting at your group.
Unless you want to pad your numbers.
I mean, you're just gonna waste your AP. You need to do it whenever there's actually damage going out, and you're waiting for that challenge to come back up. Anyway, AoE punts are good in specific situations. So like if you get to the back line and you punt the healers out of range of everybody else, then that could be a good separator. If you punt the healers into your group so they can be eaten by your group, that's good. If you're AoE punting tanks into your group to separate tanks from the rest of their warbands so everybody can eat the rest of the group. Like there's so many different things you can do with an AoE punt. But if you're punting the group that you're fighting into their own group, you're just strengthening that warband. And if you're punting a person away from a player that is about to kill them, then you just griefed your own team. So there's a lot of good uses for it. It's obviously in the game for a reason. It's just you need to know when to use it. So start thinking about trying to separate players from their bands so you can pick them off with those punts. So like he said, positioning is key, and I just wanted to go into that a little bit more specific. And not every single tank has an AoE punt. Only one on Destro has it, I believe, and one on Order. So Chosen, you don't have to worry about it.
Do Chosen not have an AoE punt?
Chosen don't have an AoE punt.
Sad.
Yeah, I know. So,
well, I mean, it's probably a good time to talk about their toolkit.
Yeah, but there's one other thing, right? You always, as a tank, your job is to keep your group alive. So if you're challenging when there's a challenge already out, you're wasting your challenge. You're not keeping your group alive. If you're not guarding the right target, then you're not soaking up any damage and you're not keeping your group alive. So being aware of the current challenge situation and being able to swap guard to anybody in your group that may need it is very important. And you have to make sure that you can easily get out and guard your healers and guard the other tanks and guard the DPS. Like your job isn't to do damage. Your job is to guard and protect. If you don't like playing that way, then maybe this is your cue to go play a DPS or a healer. It is like the synergy for the healer. The healers take time to cast their spells. Tanks just soak up the damage immediately. So you give healers a chance to do their job.
Yeah, see it this way. When you're guarding a target, you're effectively doubling their HP.
EHP. It's a thing.
That's right. That's right. And that doesn't even include all of the abilities that the tanks have, which we'll be going through some of the key warband abilities with each of the tank archetypes.
And that is a great segue into the key abilities. So we're going to start with Knight and Chosen. The core identity for these two is they're an aura class. Their buffs are kind of a set and forget kind of thing. So you turn on your auras and you can change them as the fight progresses if you really want to. In a warband, you typically don't need to. You have like an aura priority list that your warband leader may want you to be running. If you have multiple knights and chosen in your groups, then you can swap your auras around and fill out the group a little bit better that way. The middle tree for for these two tanks enables them to get more defensive abilities. For Chosen specifically, they get Oppression, which gives them more armor and reduces the damage that all of their group members take by 15%. And they get in their right tree, they get something called Quake, which is a great stagger. And staggers in this game are removed on damage. So if you take Quake, you need to let your groups know that, I have this stagger ability that I'm going to be using on their back line or whenever you're going to use it, so they don't immediately strip that debuff off of them and your group can get away. So if you're running a Quake build, your job is to slow the enemy down. You're kind of like a what is it, an archmage or a shaman with their, I know what it's called for shaman. It's called sticky feet, right? They can just put this thing on the ground, and anytime anybody walks over it, they get slowed down.
I'll just call them puddles.
Yeah, well, sure. so you get on an archmage and on a shaman, you get a puddle. Chosen, I don't know about Knight, but Chosen gets, Quake, which does the same thing, but it can be removed a lot easier. So what I recommend if you are going to be running in a warband and you're going to be tanking on a Chosen, or like I said, we're going to try to bring in some of the order stuff. Our general recommendations for Chosen and Knight is you want the middle tree auras and maybe the right tree auras, and you just need to know what your warband needs, and your warband leader will let you know. The left tree aura is more DPS oriented. If you can get all 3 auras, then do that, but that's going to be once you're renown rank 70 plus. So early on, middle tree, right tree. For Chosen, you have something called Bane Shield. It gives your party protection. It gives them a shield, and when you have a shield, you cannot be crit. So you have to diminish the shield first before you can crit that player. So it does so. Shields in this game do so much. They're
Huge.
So strong. So if you see incoming damage, like a huge damage spike or something, you hit that Bane shielding for your party, and that just soaks up all the big damage that they're about to do. At least, for a couple GCDs. If you are going to be using Quake, you need to make sure that you are hitting the back line on healers. You're stopping incoming flanks. You're basically using it to slow down an advance or slow down their retreat. You are not going to be using it right at the beginning of an engagement. If your group is trying to hit the enemy and then you hit Quake on them right before you drop your channels, you just wasted a cooldown. You're just, it's essentially not being used properly. So read the tooltip on what Quake does and play around with it, but it's not just a damaging ability, and it will get removed on damage.
Yeah, it's not just any CC, right? You gotta use it the right way. Serj said slowing down a warband, it's completely nullifying them. If you hit your Quake right, we're talking about 6 GCDs worth of GCDs being global cooldowns, right? It's the 1.5 seconds between the time you can cast your abilities. That's 6 global cooldowns that you can generate. You can wipe an entire warband while somebody else is CC'd. That's how powerful it is. But if you're using it willy-nilly, you are not only giving them an immunity to a potential marauder knock, but you're completely wasting it, because with at least 16 sources of damage coming through, that CC is going to break immediately. Now, from a warband perspective, for me, Chosens are absolutely defensive specialists. They rock. One thing we failed to mention to you all is hold the line will stack up to 3 times. So ideally, you will want 3 good tanks when a lot of damage is about to come through. It's all about the anticipation, knowing what's up. So having at least 3 chosen in your warbands, any warbands lead wondering what's an ideal composition, at least 3 chosen. Why 3 chosen? Chosen have a multitude of active abilities, but they also have more time than the other tanks to go ahead and channel hold the line. It's not a numbers padding business. It's really for you to be able. Now let's have a look at the abilities and just see how it all comes together. We've got oppression. Serj was saying it is massive. 15% damage reduction. Its duration increases depending on how many middle tree auras you have. Now, the damage reduction does not overlap with the Black Orc Squeeze Bigger. Now, both of those should be used in different situations. Squeeze Bigger is more offensive when slotted with Line Cracker, but Oppression is a very strong defensive tool. You need to, I believe, block or parry before you trigger it. Bane Shield is another defensive one, right? We're looking at all these things. All of a sudden, you've got 2 very strong defensive abilities. You've got the potential to hold the line. You see a morale bomb coming through, and learn to read the battlefield. It'll take a little bit, but you see, the enemy warband is turning on you. They're hot with morales. They're about to drop him. Let's look at what we can do. You've got the challenge, reduces their damage, right? Immediately, you've got, as they're starting to hit, you're popping that Bane Shield. Your party now has a shield, entire party, for free. Add your protection numbers right there. More EHP, right? Then you pop Oppression. The big damage is about to come through. You want to survive that morale drop. And you're popping Hold the Line. Not only are you giving yourself a nice defensive bonus, but everyone behind you, positioning. If you've got 3 chosen doing that, imagine the amount of mitigation coming through in those key moments as the enemy warband's about to drop their morales on you.
Huge.
If you're not sure about Quake timing, huge. You don't have to spec into Quake early, right?
I would recommend you not speccing into Quake early. I would recommend you, unless you are serious into small man and 12-man and scenarios, and you play a lot with the same people, stay away from Quake. I think it's a noob trap. Until you get good at playing with a warband, just stay away from Quake. There are very few tanks that are good with Quake.
But when you get to that level, ooh, baby. But so
I don't even run Quake.
You're starting to see it here.
Not saying I'm a good tank or anything, but I don't run Quake.
Oh, he is. You can see by the footage, right? I just find that the Chosen is such an intimidating, and just the way that they look as well. You get out there, you get out in front, you get people kind of bothered. You're slamming your auras onto them. You might increase their cast times already. You're throwing them off their game. You've got anti-heal auras. You've got strength auras to buff up your tons of things happening with the Chosen. Aura dancing since the patch, it was September 2025, is not a thing anymore. But the auras, as Serj was mentioning, will buff those certain abilities. Get to know them, look at them. Oppression getting buffed through the middle tree is massive. Having up to 14 seconds of damage reduction with such a powerful tool is amazing. Let me ask you this, Serj. Would you recommend Chosen for somebody dipping their toes into tanking?
I would only recommend Chosen for somebody dipping their toes into tanking. Chosen is the easiest tank to learn how to play. Tanking in this game is not easy to do compared to the other MMOs, but most MMOs, tanking in PvP is kind of non-existent. In this game, tanking even in PvE works differently than what you may be used to, but Chosen makes tanking more accessible early on than the other options, Chosen and Knight. I think Knight's better than Chosen as a tank as well, just because of the auras that it gets. But so Chosen and Knight, if you have never tanked in Return of Reckoning before or ever, and you want to try it out, that is a very good starting point. I would not recommend the other options if you've never tanked before, until you learn the core mechanic. If you've been playing this game and you've been playing DPS or heals for a long time, then pick whatever you want. But if it's your first time tanking in this type of game, I would say Chosen or Knight.
Hard agree. On top of that, with the Chosen, you've got for your small man, your scenarios, the two-handed build can put out some very good damage. The Knight will have a great wound debuff, very useful in a warband setting even, but you will play it very differently. You're no longer a frontline tank. And you do need to communicate with your warband leaders. Some people will be quite frustrated if they see you on the front lines with a two-hander. That doesn't mean that there's not a place for it. All of it can be played. I've got a few players that come to mind, two-handed Chosen that I've brought in warbands, and I know that they're doing it. I know what to expect. I'll pair them up with a DPS that makes sense. Maybe
if I don't know them, I won't want to bring them. But you basically got to be BIS. You gotta be 80 plus. You gotta have the best gear in the game. Otherwise,
just get deleted.
You can do it, but it's rough out there as a two-handed Chosen in a warband. In a small man.
In a warband setting, you're not a DPS in heavy armor.
In a small man, solo, 2-man, 6-man, 12-man, whatever, it is fantastic. It's probably the best tank for that kind of content. But in a warband, in an organized warband, it doesn't bring anything else to the table that other classes do better, unless you're in that top 1% of players. And most of us are not. Just gonna throw that out there.
I feel like I am. I'm probably not, but yeah. Love Chosen, and I mean the rule of cool. Let's be real, Chosen just looks really cool.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I like them all. I like all the tanks, but that's my own personal bias. I am a tank player.
We're giving you a primer. Don't tell us or don't let us force you to play a certain way. Try out some of the stuff we're talking about. You might see good reactions. You'll see if you're trying these things out and these principles out in T1, you will get messaged by somebody saying thank you for what you're doing, because it's kind of rare in T1. So practice those skills early on and you'll get there. Now, let's jump into my personal favorite tank, the Blackguard.
It's a fun class. So fun. Swordmaster for order.
Yeah, lame that it's an elf that is the mirror for a Black Orc, but you know what?
Well, it couldn't be a dwarf because Ironbreaker is very specific. So,
I always feel like they fall a little short.
Get it? Because they are stunties. All right.
Yep. We did it. So the core identity is the plan. You're basically,
what plan?
For those of you that might know, almost like stance dancing, because you're going through plans. It changes the type of abilities.
But it's automatic. It's not real stance dancing. It's baked in.
Correct.
But go ahead. I'll let you.
You'll have your abilities that move you from certain stances. You have changing the plan, which is off global cooldown or OGCD. You can use it between using move. So already there's an extra input. The reason why I like Black Orc, and I main a Choppa, I lead on a Choppa, so having a Black Orc in the party, not just for the huge numbers, very, very active play style, but on top of that, what you get is a way in. Even in a front to back fight, and we might talk about what types of fights warbands get into, in a later episode. But in a front to back fight where you're facing off and you're trying to get through to their heal line, trying to do real damage, the Black Orc is amazing. Their defensives start going up, their tactics all play, or the type of tactics that you should run for the warband all kind of play within that changing the plan idea. With less stabbing me, the more you go up in your plans up to the best plan, the more parry you get. You have
Parry.
a high amount of block.
Huge amount of parry.
Huge. Another core
20%.
mechanic is the war bellows. 20% parry. That's correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe parry is only for physical damage. Will not do anything against spells. But a
Correct,
lot of
but
the
you
damage coming
can
out.
but you can parry guard damage. So even if the
Okay.
damage on your guard target is magic damage, 50% of that damage that comes to you it gets converted to guard damage. So it started off as magic, comes to you through guard damage, and you can parry that. So it still does work for
Absolutely.
that.
One of the things you might struggle with, let me talk about war bellows first, actually. So war bellows are your kind of Black Orc auras. They mostly apply to your party. If you're running Buffhead, they will be the number one reason why you want to get compression on Buffhead so that you don't see a million buffs. Check what your warband is running, check what your party is running, make sure that you're not overlapping. I like the greenest, but a lot of people run the biggest and whatnot. All of them are good. Just make sure you're not overlapping or wasting your war bellow. The other thing is that it's hard as you're leveling up on a Black Orc because you're gonna want to be up front. It's just natural. Most people role play their Black Orc. Please do it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
But when you get up, there on the front line, you're gonna feel pretty squishy. Not a bad idea to go ahead and spec into Can't Hit Me. Channel that once you've got your key abilities out and your job is done. You're going to have a tough time finding a good time to channel a lot of hold the line. Let your chosens take care of that. What are your key abilities? Well, like I said, Wiesbigger slotted with a tactic called Line Cracker. Wiesbigger will reduce your damage and give you immunity to CC. So you want to get in there without being punted by the enemy tanks. That's the way to do it. And what Line Cracker will do is it'll give you a 30% move speed buff on top of that. So you don't need to have somebody use Sov speed to get you in there. So really amazing tool. Think about it this way. You've got your chosen, your Black Orcs and your Blackguards just kind of parting the sea, letting the DPS through right into that healer line. Those immunities, the damage reduction, that's what helps you survive because you're going to go through a lot of damage as you try to hit that back line. So the Black Orc is absolutely amazing for that. What do you think? How do you approach it, Serj?
Well, how do I approach what exactly?
Playing the Black Orc. What do you find are some of the key abilities, and how do you?
You got it. As long as you understand how the plan system works, which if you're leveling the character, you'll figure it out pretty quickly. If you don't have the add-on called Plan B, it works for both Black Orc and Swordmaster. I would recommend at least trying it out because basically what it does is it gives you another bar that will only show the skills that you can use depending on the plan that you're currently in. It frees up a lot of space, so you don't have to have like 50 bars on your screen. The bellows, I mean, it's kind of a set and forget kind of thing, like the auras. You just make sure you turn one on. I think Wiesbigger is probably one of the best abilities in the game, especially for a tank, because it gives you CC immunity, it gives you Sov speed basically, and then it allows you to close your entire warband to close the distance without having to utilize other skills, so you can still save that Sov speed and pair it with Line Cracker later. It's just it's one of the most fun core abilities for a tank, and I don't even play one. I have a max level Black Orc. I think he's only renown rank 40, but he's say again. Of course you do. Yeah, I have a level 40 of every tank, but I don't have a problem. You have a problem. I like it. I like it. But you made a comment earlier about the front to back, and you said we're going to go into it later, or into more detail later in like maybe a future podcast. But can you give like a quick excerpt, like a quick, what is a front to back fight?
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
2 words or
I mean,
less. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Fight lot.
Okay.
It's just simply when the 2 warbands are facing off, you'll usually have healers and healers and DPS up front. Yeah, that's a good way to go about it. Tanks and DPS up front with healers off on the sides. Healers don't stack together. Okay, we'll get to that in the healer episode, but don't stack together. It's juicy targets. And what you want to do is you're either building morales or you're trying to push through or create some sort of advantage. Otherwise, that front line becomes very hard to kill. So you need to give yourself advantage through CC or a push, something. So the difficulty is Swordmaster does not have an equivalent to Linecracker. They do have an equivalent to Wiesbigger, but they don't have the Linecracker, so the 30% move speed component. So that gives the Black Orc a certain advantage when trying to make that push. You can still mix it up with a sob speed, but then you're using 2 cooldowns, while a Black Orc can achieve that by sacrificing 1 tactic slot. So front to back fights, I think, is where the Black Orc shines.
So you mentioned changing to plan, being off GCD. So if you find yourself in the wrong plan and you need to be into best plan, or I don't know what it's called for Swordmaster, but if you need to be in your last plan for Swordmaster, then you have the same type of skill that will put you in the next plan immediately. So that's usually for those front to back fights where you need to be in that best plan so you can have your max parry and just hold on to it for whenever the fight gets sticky. Also keep in mind that Wiesbigger and Chosen's oppression skills do not stack. So if you are using Wiesbigger and Chosen is using oppression, kind of, I've said it before, you got to get buff heads set up properly. If you don't have buff heads set up properly, I have in my Discord a buff head Lua that you can download and put into your files.
I love it on my tanks.
It just
use it.
It will just set up your buff head for you immediately. So we talked about AoE punts previously. Chosen and Swordmaster, you guys have an AoE punt. Not Chosen.
You can tell which one he loves the most.
Black Orcs and Swordmaster. So Black Orcs, their AoE punt is a frontal. It's called Fly Gets. It will push everybody in front of them away, and it gives immunity to CC. So if you want to piss off your warband leader, use that on cooldown. Otherwise, hold on to it and only use it on your warband leader's call, or use it to separate the enemies from their tanks, separate the tanks from the healers, punt healers off of cliffs so you can kill everybody else.
Or be like me and just be mashing the wrong button as you move into the best plan and accidentally punt everybody.
You could set up your bars properly,
Strategy.
but that's a different topic.
For another day.
So Rock Ard is one of my favorite skills on a Black Orc. It can be used in any plan, and it will put you into your middle plan. I don't know what Swordmaster has, but essentially what Rock Ard does is it gives you a free shield, specifically the Black Orc, and it changes their plan into their the good plan. So what that will do is that will allow them to give themselves a shield and then put themselves into the good plan so they can set up for changing their plan to put them into the best plan. So essentially before they even start a fight, they can be in the best plan, which is where you want to be, because that's where most of your good stuff is. It's called the best plan for a reason.
Yeah. And you can achieve that either in 2 GCDs or 3. That's up to you, depending on the timing. The Swordmaster gets the same thing. Protection of Hoth, like the frozen planet in Star Wars, I guess. I'm trying, but these Elgy names, who makes these things up? And it'll also put you in your middle plan, improved balance, right? There's some pretty cool stuff that these Swordmasters that's true. Or Lilith, I don't know. Who are the elven gods? The lore, elf lore. But the Swordmaster has some very interesting things going on, some very powerful defensives, crushing advance, redirected force, absolutely insane stuff that you can achieve. Block, increasing disrupts, messing up with the spellcasting. You've got a lot of good things to go on to mess up, sorcerers and sorceresses from the Destro side. So explore that tree, that middle tree, a little bit of on the right tree. Good mix up for the Swordmaster.
Yep. Very, very strong tanks. Both Swordmaster and Black Orcs are very powerful if played correctly. And we started with Chosen because they're the easiest tank to play. We went to Black Orc, Chosen and Knight. We went to Black Orc and Swordmaster because they're kind of a step up. And the final tank we want to talk about is the Ironbreaker and Blackguard. And I have dreaded this conversation because I think, this is a hot take, I think that Blackguards and Ironbreakers are the best tanks if played correctly, but most people do not know how to play them.
Bold claims. Now, you've gone on record multiple times throughout the podcast saying that you do not suggest for a first-time tank to be playing either Blackguard or Ironbreaker. Can you go into why?
Resource management. It has a tertiary resource management. You have GCDs that you have to worry about. You have cooldowns that you have to worry about for your skills. Everybody has those. Everybody has GCDs. Everybody has the cooldowns. That's your first thing that you have to worry about. Your second thing that you have to worry about for Blackguards and Ironbreakers. I said tertiary resource, didn't I? It's not absolutely. Really a tertiary, is it? Because I consider your GCD and your skill cooldowns kind of in the same vein, but they have hatred, and for Ironbreakers it's called grudges, right?
Yeah.
So they have to maintain that. They start off the fight with a low amount of hatred or grudge, and when they do not have that resource, they have less defenses, and they have less things that they can press, less buttons that they can press. So their whole shtick is keeping that resource high, and a lot of new players will. It's not a builder and a spender like you would expect it to be in other games like World of Warcraft or other Blizzard games that are out there. They have builders and spenders. This you do not treat hatred and grudges like a builder and spender system. Sure, you do things to build it, and you can spend your hatred on skills, but when you do that, you are making yourself weaker. But there's a lot to it. You can use your hatred on skills that make you stronger and buff your party, but when you do so, you have to prioritize different things depending on the situation. There's a lot of buttons to press, and the best Ironbreakers and the best Blackguards that really know how to do it will they'll keep their parties buffed, they'll keep themselves buffed, and they'll keep their hatred or their grudges high. I think it's a very fun class to play, but it can get very you can get lost in the weeds without spending a lot of time learning how to play a tank correctly. Specifically these two.
Love how you've said that about the resources. Yeah, it's not a spender. Although your abilities cost hatred or grudges, you can't just go and dump it all. You'll get yourself in massive trouble. You will not feel good playing that class. Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Dark Protector?
Oh, Dark Protector can be one of the best abilities in the game. I don't know what it's called for Ironbreaker. Can you fill me in on this?
Oathbound?
Oathbound. Okay. Yeah. So for Blackguard, it's called Dark Protector, and for Ironbreaker, it's called Oathbound. It's kind of like Guard, right? Oathfriend. That's correct. I remember now. So you throw your guard on a player that is taking damage, or you want to soak out some threat if you're in PvE. But for the sake of a warband, you throw it on a player that you want to... oh, that reminds me. We need to go back to Black Orc for a second after I'm done with this. But so Dark Protector, you throw on a person that you want to buff. Okay. Your guard...
I thought you just put it on somebody you want to protect darkly.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. or Oath, you want them to be your friend. I don't know.
Just force them to be, yeah.
Yeah, so Guard is only in your party. Dark Protector and Oath Friend are anybody around you. And you can buff them with any of the abilities you say will buff your Dark Protector. It buffs you and your Dark Protector. And for Blackguard, I don't know about Ironbreaker, but Blackguard has a shield. So if you see somebody else near you that's not even in your warband that's taking damage, you can put a shield on them. Like, remember how we said that shields can't be crit? So if you're really good with swapping guards, and you get good at swapping your Dark Protector, you will elevate yourself to this like immortal godhood. If you can manage both of those at the same time. It is probably the one thing that most people forget about instantly. They throw their guard on somebody, they throw their Dark Protector on somebody, and then they're done. Now, you can play that way, but if you want to be the best on the server, you need to start swapping both your guard and your Dark Protector around to buff your group, buff your warband, buff people outside of your warband. In order to do so.
Now, is that ability on the global cooldown or no?
So you can... No, it's off the global cooldown. So you can guard and swap your Dark Protector basically in the same instance. As long as you keep... I mean, if you want to. And there's no reason for you to not do so. Like, I know we've been ingrained to think about the GCD since, Ultima Online days, but so in the Black Orc world and Swordmaster world, they have something that says that they buff their defensive target. So they have one less step. So you just click on somebody and you can buff. Like if you have a buff that says it buffs your defensive target, that's one of your friendlies that you have selected. It will also buff them as well. So it's kind of like the Dark Protector, but with less steps.
Oh, it's so good. And I mean, you're hearing it right now. All of a sudden, you've got your guard swaps, which every tank has, right? You're swapping your Dark Protector. You're trying to look around, be situationally aware. You've got to build and look at your hatred or your grudges, right? And you've got to keep it at the right amount so that you don't become squishy through spending them. This is a very active class, so you better be, that APM, actions per minute, is going to be considerably higher, because you still have to do the other basic things that every tank does, but all of a sudden you're working really hard. Is the payoff worth it, Serj?
It depends on your personal playstyle. I get bored playing Chosen in a warband. So I have been wanting to swap to a Black Orc or a Blackguard because it gives you something else to press. When I say that tanking on a Chosen is easy, I'm not exaggerating. It's easy, but it's really good at what it does. It's my highest renown rank character, so I play it the most because it's what I started on. It's what looked good to me. It's what I found fun when I first started playing. I want to level the other two. I would prefer if I could swap to Blackguard, because for me, it gives me more to do. And at the height of play, a Doc, a Witch Elf, a Blackguard, what's the other one? Sorc. All four of those at the height of play can be some of the most intimidating people in your warband. That's not to say that the others can't. Yeah, I feel like Dark Elves are where you go when you're bored of everything else and you need to challenge yourself. So if you want a challenge, play a Dark Elf. And if you can get good at playing a Dark Elf, then you're going to master this game. Tally, don't hate me. I know she's going to throw in the, I told you Dark Elves were the best.
Get it a little bit. Yeah. It's not undeserved. That was, I do have a 80 or beyond 80 Sorc, beyond 80 Doc at this point, and a 40 Blackguard. So just missing the Witch Elf. Here's the crazy thing, everybody. Like, we have been talking quite a bit now about the Blackguard. We're both very excited about the class. We've not even mentioned one of the core abilities for the Witch King. Huge. So
huge. If you have for the Witch King and a squig herder, a melee squig herder in your group, everybody's dead.
Or Choppa.
Yeah, sure, but I don't play a Choppa or a Sorc.
Or a Shaman. Or a Doc.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily a DPS Doc. I have had that
No, the defensive Doc, Kane's Refreshment, is 8-second cooldown with a 3-second channel. So you can go ahead and channel 3 Kane's Refreshments in the duration for the Witch King.
It's
here's the thing.
Gross.
The cooldown reduction is not retroactive. So again, another kind of skill check where it comes to for the Blackguard is that you need to build that hatred very quickly before your warband leads call for a channel, and you need to anticipate that call because you need to cast for the Witch King before anyone starts popping their high cooldown big damage abilities. So big bouncing for the squig, wall chopping for the choppa, devastating or disastrous cascade for Sorc. For Shaman, Shaman can just continuously start casting Fury of the Green. So it's huge. The synergies are massive. That's not to say that the other tanks don't have a synergy, but as a DPS main, let me tell you, I love a good for the Witch King. I love it when my Blackguard is able to anticipate the call out, is able to build that hatred very quickly, likely through swapping to the perfect Dark Protector, right? Adding that survivability, building that hatred, and then popping for the Witch King at the right moment and seeing your warband just roll over the people in front of you. It feels amazing.
So there's one more
Another
thing.
Yes.
So there's one more thing about the Dark Protector, because you just mentioned it, right? That I didn't mention previously. You can throw your Dark Protector on somebody that is taking damage right now to help you generate hatred. Or your Oath Friend on somebody that's taking damage to generate grudges. You need to keep that high, so whoever in your group is always in the thick of it, like maybe your Warband leader on a Choppa, throw your Dark Protector on them, because they're going to be leading the charge. They're going to be in there getting hit first. That will help you build your resource faster. So if you need to know who can I put it on and learn the class before I worry about my Dark Protector, then that's who you should put it on. Find the person in your group who's taking the most damage, put it on them, and forget about it until you learn how to play the class better.
Save me from my Choppa brain.
Yes.
It's a real thing for those that don't know. It's real. Not at
Choppa
all
brain?
my excuse.
I mean, I get it on my Squig Herder. I don't know if you've ever watched me stream Melee Squig, but
All for the greenies, I have quite a bit.
I get lost in that. I mean, I can pounce. All right, I'm going in. All right. You
For
said
our two-handed tank lovers, Blackguard is a good candidate. You'll have to play it differently.
It's a very good anti-magic tank. And most of the people that you're going to be up against are going to be in solo, are going to be magic users, like rune priests, archmages. I guess the corporeal damage from a shadow warrior is not really anything you can contend with, but you don't really see too many shadow warriors solo roaming anyway because they're too squishy. But yeah, they're gross. They're very good.
Now, Serj mentioned basically that the two-handed tank, he was talking about the knight. You do want to be fairly geared before you throw yourself into that. And why? So for the Blackguard, you lose access to None Shall Pass, which is your channeled, high block, high survivability ability, which is what will keep you alive where, maybe parts of your gear aren't quite optimized yet. You might be working up your way to Vanquisher. Onslaught is very good early on as well, so that'll keep you alive. It's not quite there, but you do get what we call a baby Sov, so a nice move speed buff that you use that is not quite as good as the Sov one. But if you're gonna go two-handed, you better be ready with a high level of gear, because you lose access to those defensives. And what you do bring, though, is the absolutely devastating ability called Crimson Death.
Man, so good.
Increasing the chance of everyone that gets hit, their chance to be critically hit is increased by 10% for 10 seconds. Dropping that before a channel is absolutely massive. It will help your warband just rip through enemies. If they try to run away and you're geared and you have your renown points, Wave of Scorn will slow them right back down. Massive slow for 5 seconds. Your warband just catches up and starts eating everybody. You're going to build a lot of parry. You're going to still be throwing out your Dark Protector left and right. Boy, oh boy, do you get it. And with Raise, you get a nice little morale too, to help channel, or when you're doing any kind of supporting your DPS. You do need to communicate with your lead, same as when you're playing a two-handed knight. be really clear. You might be asked to guard somebody who's not going to be as far up on the front line or not expect to take as much damage, something like that, because you cannot be at the front and center. You'll get popped like a pimple. Can't do it.
Yeah. And that's specifically for two-handing. If you don't have
and the reason,
very high, like you need to stack that parry if you want a two-hand.
yeah. And the reason we tell you all of this is because ultimately we don't want you to get disengaged, right? You might want to do the two-handed build, and yeah, it's a bit of a longer road. It doesn't mean that you can't pull it off, bring it into scenarios, practice your craft. But we don't want you to get discouraged when you're RR50 and you're trying to play it like a frontline tank, and it's going to be hard. Learn, communicate, talk with your warband lead, talk with the other tanks. Some guard swapping can help a lot there. But just your positioning is going to get you through.
Yeah, you may see some two-hand tanks out there, and you're thinking, well, why can't I? These people are doing it. Those people have been doing it for a long time. They're beyond Sov. They know their positioning. Follow them around. Learn what they're doing. And then you can tell us in the comments that, hey, I'm doing two-hand tanking and it's working for me. So,
and I hope so.
It's just in a warband, like he said, you got to stack that parry, and you're probably not going to be in the front lines, at least not until late game.
A good warband leader will utilize you. They'll play around you and they'll help you grow. Just be open to learning, do what you need to do, and just don't do it silently. Communicate. Now, throughout, I think we've talked a lot about the synergies, how tanks synergize together and what they bring to the party, the warband, the realm, right? Dark Protector is realm-wide. I want to talk a little bit more about these synergies, potential party compositions. What do you want to bring? I mentioned 3 chosen in a warband at least is very good for that triple stack of hold the line. Huge defensives. Now, I've been talking a lot about Wiesbigger. As a Choppa player, I enjoy it. As a Sork player, I enjoy it even more. And this is something really important. So Serj was talking about the taunts, doing it on a Bright Wizard. Remember, you can still put a person's ability on cooldown, but Sork and Bright Wizard do not have strong movement abilities. So if they get punted, they are in trouble.
They do not.
Oh, it is very unpleasant because you're like, I'm going to get you, but you won't because you're far away now. And all of the good channels are 25 feet. The best channels are 25 feet, not all of the good ones. So CC immunity for those classes is huge. You're going to help them get into the area where they're meant to be and create that bomb. We call them bomb specs. You're going to do really, really well if you see that, spot it, be near, Sorks, Choppas, DPS, be near your tanks. Don't go running off. Let them use these abilities that are going to make you so much stronger. Tanks, to me, they're not just the wall. Oftentimes in my callouts, my tanks are the leaders of the warband, really. I just do the callouts. Tanks are the pivot point, they're the line, they're the wall, they're the people protecting you as you retreat, and they're the ones first in to make a path for you to get into that healer line. So it's absolutely huge. We love our tanks. Tank mains, we appreciate you. Serj, we appreciate you. Thank you for what you do. But those synergies are huge. Be near your tanks. The tanks will be near the warband lead. You'll succeed. You'll have a lot of fun. What about you, Serj? What are some of the synergies, some of the party compositions that you like to see?
Well, we talked about for the Witch King earlier. If we're going a little bit off the meta here, which is kind of what we're trying to do, in the podcast is we're encouraging people to not stick to one meta because there's more than one way to play. So let's bring in like the small man perspective. You don't need more than one tank for a small man. So if you're really learning how to play a tank for the first time and you want to get into a small man, remember that a small man group, a single tank, it changes everything. Everybody's relying on you for the core mechanics of the role. So if you want to be the guy that's keeping your group alive, go do small man. You will learn positioning. You will learn how to strip. You will learn when to punt. You will learn when to guard swap. You will learn your dark protector swaps. Say again?
Learn how to strip, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you'll learn how to peel. Is that better? You'll learn when to challenge, to taunt. Small man scenarios, 6-man, 12-man, one tank per party. It's going to teach you a lot. You're going to feel a lot more useful, and it's going to teach you the game in a lot shorter of a time span. The 24-man 222 comp is a great comp, but you are relying on other people to fill in for your mistakes. And if you really want to get good, you can't have that as a crutch. So if we're talking about synergies here, any tank that you pick, you need to learn specifically what you are bringing to the table for that group. And we talked about a lot of the different things that each tank brings. So whichever one sounds best to you, go create one, go learn one, bring it to a small man, and tell us how it goes.
As a person who's been leading warbands for a long time, I encourage everyone to try different types of gameplay. You will fall in love with this game all over again. There's so much fun to be had. There's so many great things. As Serj was saying, break the meta, figure it out for yourself. We're giving you one quick template, but that's just like our opinion, man.
Yeah.
Really,
I don't like
what you've got.
I don't like doing build guides, right?
Yeah.
I've been asked many times, like, how do I build my chosen? How do I build my tank? I don't like doing build, because if I say, oh, you should get this piece of gear, put this talisman in it, to spec this way, then you're not really learning the class. And maybe I'm wrong for your specific type of playstyle.
Right.
There are so many viable builds for every single class. There's not one build. There's not one build per character in this game. And I promise you, if you go into a GWU warband, there are specific requirements that we want for you to bring. So like, we want certain tanks to bring certain skills, but not every tank brings those exact skills, because some tanks are bringing other skills that we still utilize. Nobody has the exact same spec in our warbands. Nobody has the exact same gear. Everybody is doing something that works for them, and that the warband leader has specifically said, hey, this works because this guy's using this other skill, so can you do that? There's 3 trees. There's so much gear. There's so many different talismans. Initiative is overlooked. The meta is not real, is basically what I'm saying. So anyway,
it's a PvP game. You make the meta.
As soon as there is a meta, somebody figures out how to beat it, so the meta changes anyway. So anyway, I kind of cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that was great. I mean, we wanted to get to our hot takes, but considering the conversation we've been having, I feel like it's almost lukewarm takes at this point, because we've talked about so much of this, right? hopefully it doesn't come to us as a surprise to anybody what we'll mention here. I said it right off the bat. My lukewarm take is that tank composition in the party affects everyone's performance. It changes everything. I've been really clear about the importance of my tanks in my warbands, but it's the same thing when I run scenarios or do whatever else. Tanks set a lot of the pace. Any good tank knows to trust their healer, but to cross guard, there are situations where both tanks just guard each other, and that creates this almost impassable frontier. Like you literally, they have to flow around you. You're like the Rock, an actual Rock, not Dwayne Johnson. And of course, this has been said through multiple episodes. Don't play Blackguard first if you're just dipping your toes into ROR tanking. You're interested. We don't want you to get discouraged. If you absolutely want to go for it, go for it. Dark Elf aesthetic is cool. Everybody loves it. Pick up None Shall Pass. Get yourself survivable. Start building up those skills one at a time. I don't mean the skills that you use. I mean the skills of you as a player. Build them up one at a time. And I'll say it again, louder for the people in the back. You're not a DPS in heavy armor. You might be if you're running small man or scenarios, because you need that single target burst. You need to take those healers out. But in a warband setting, keeping people alive who can damage 24 targets at a time with massive numbers, keeping your healers safe to survive huge bursts, all this crazy stuff, that's what you're there to do. You are the person, just the security blanket over the entire warband. And I want to ask you a question, Serj, that is a little bit different than which tank is easiest or hardest, or which one you should start with. But which tank career creates the biggest gap between a good player and a great player?
I don't think that I can answer that easily. I think every single tank career has a huge gap between a good player and a great player. If I had to pick, I don't know. I don't think I can.
Gotta be chosen, right? It's gotta be chosen.
I was gonna say chosen, but man, I don't know. I think the skill gap between a good player and a great player is about the same for every single class. It's just the barrier to entry is lower for chosen than it is for the other two. And the barrier to entry for Blackguard is higher than it is for the other two. So the skill gap between just playing the class and being really good at the class is essentially the same for all of them.
Interesting. I do also want to hear your hot or lukewarm take around the add-ons, challenges. You've mentioned this to me many times. You talked about your Lua for Buffhead earlier. Tell us more.
So the base UI in the game is very bare bones. It doesn't give you enough information. There are a lot of really good add-ons out there, but for information, at a minimum, you need Buffhead. If you're not running Buffhead, you're just missing out on simple to see information that's just, you're just missing. Unless you go through all of your buffs and debuffs. Buffhead is a must. It just gives you the information you need right now. Bare bones enemy makes swapping easier, and it does have guard swapping specifically and dark protector swapping if you set it up that way. It makes it easier, but it also can provide you with information about your warband and your party as well if you set it up properly. I don't think if you are playing at a high level that those two add-ons specifically are optional. I think they're mandatory. Just because the base UI is missing a lot of information.
Mm-hmm. Now, when I play tank, I expect my warband leader to always call out each of the challenges I should do. I'm doing it right, right?
No.
Rude.
Okay, so Guild Wars on the brain. GWU does rotation callouts for challenges on occasion. If we're running with a pug warband, or we're filling, or we're not running with our mains, we'll do challenge rotation callouts. However, if you have buff heads set up properly, you don't need a challenge rotation. You challenge when your challenge is off cooldown and somebody else hasn't already challenged. How do you know? Because buff head is set up properly. So why fill comms with unnecessary callouts if you can just set up your UI properly to do the same thing?
Everybody come bug Serj for his Lua. It's very good. It's got the compression. It'll reduce visual pollution on your screen from some of the buff head stuff. It's very clean. I use it on my tanks. It's great. I love it. Come bug him.
You can use it on more than just tanks. It's got everything.
I'm a choppy boy.
Just use it for challenge.
Choppy boy.
Okay.
They're over there. I'm going to chop them and they're going to die.
I guess you don't need it on a chopper, but whatever. I use it on everything.
Big brain.
All right.
Well, okay. Maybe I might want to know what their immunities are, but
yeah.
Sure, I guess.
Come on. A warband leader doesn't know immunities. All right, guys.
Papa brain is real. Okay, everybody. I won't hear anything any differently.
This episode had a lot of hot takes, Bank. I think it did.
Throughout,
really.
I think
I'm sweating.
We let them cool down over time and got them to be lukewarm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think we've done a great job. I think that's gonna wrap up our deep dive on tanks. You know, if you're just gonna take one thing away from this episode, hopefully not. We've been talking a while, okay? But if you're gonna take one thing, is rotation will become muscle memory. Don't worry about that. Gear, you'll lock in your gear once you're R80. You won't worry about that too much. Positioning, awareness, that'll get you through the tough fights, the tough evenings. It will make you into an amazing player, and it's really what's going to make the difference every single time.
Absolutely. And if you want to bring your tank play up a notch, start by asking yourself the questions that we started off this entire conversation with. Is my guard target safe? Are my healers being pressured? Am I in the right position for what's going on in front of me? Where's my warband? You should be with your warband leader. If you're asking those questions constantly, you're already ahead of a majority of tanks.
Absolutely. Now, we are in the middle of double crests. If you want to farm for your Sov, you want to farm for your Tri-Ring, you want to farm for whatever, your two-handed off-spec, log on now. Tons of players, huge fights. We just finishing fights every night, having a lot of fun. And Twilight's Tide, the Annulus Ring event, is coming up, I believe, end of June, early July. Make sure you're logging in for that. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm hoping a ring will somehow pop up in my inventory. I doubt that's how it works.
Bro,
but, you know,
Discord.
One can only hope.
GW's been talking about it, man.
I was elected to lead, not to read.
Okay. All right, guys. So make sure you're logging into Twitch and viewing those Twitch channels that have drops enabled, so you can get those easy to grab items.
go follow Serj on Twitch as well. He streams all the time.
I try.
And thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed ourselves. Let us know in the comments which tank you main, which tank you're interested in, what topic you'd like us to cover in one of the future episodes, and we'll see you next time on the Warcamp Broadcast.
And let us know what we got wrong, which is probably not much.
Nothing.
No. Let us know what you think. Catch you next time.